Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to Formula Virtual Racing. We're here this evening for the return of the Monaco Grand Prix. It is Season 9, round number 4, and we are here in Monte Carlo, and we already have someone out of the race, so that is, that's peculiar, but we already have somebody out of qualifying. That is Hardy Fox, who is already retired from the session, so that is interesting there. He has retired from qualifying. But nevertheless, welcome along, folks, to Formula Virtual Racing. We are here for the Monaco Grand Prix. It's a small enough grid this evening, and that's always what you get when you go to Monaco. Everyone suddenly is very, very busy, but nevertheless, it should be an absolute cracking race. We still have a lot of good drivers here this evening, and of course I have a very good co-commentator who I believe is going to speak in a bit of French. Brendan, how are you
doing? Bonjour, comment allez-vous?
Ça va bien.
Those are put the house, I suppose.
For those wondering, Brendan has a French oral exam tomorrow, so we're going to get a few French ad-libs in, give you a bit of practice. But nevertheless, qualifying is underway here for the Monaco Grand Prix, one of 3 parts of the Crown Jewel. We've had Monaco on all calendars but one, and that was of course last season when Mr. Stupid, aka me, left it out of the calendar for some odd reason. But we've returned now to the small principality. It certainly should be an absolute excellent race. And I'm just looking at my notebook. Do I not have Monaco notes done? It's literally my favourite racing circuit. Oh well. But
I suppose I can cover here in the French. Nous sommes ici à Monte Carlo, le circuit le plus célébré du monde. Il y aura beaucoup d'actions aujourd'hui. Alors préparez-vous.
Oui, Kylian Mbappe.
Right.
That's my little bit of input. But nevertheless, we're looking at Dara Smith, who's currently on a lap, tied for the World Championship lead here in Formula Virtual Racing, himself and Luke Davies, as we can bring that up on your screen now. You can see Luke Davies leads, tied with Dara Smith on 57th, and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in 3rd, who's not here this evening. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer is also our driver in focus for this evening, but, well, he's not here, is he? So that's slightly disappointing. Then it is Borbune in 4th, followed by Sam Crumpton in 5th. So, still, very interesting proceedings in terms of the drivers and team standings. Let's take a look at Dara Smith's first run then as he heads through their Ascas in towards Anthony No. A little bit of a rear sliding, but the Haas is going to get the car rotated nicely through Anthony No's and across the line. Where's this lap going to be? It's going to be a 1:10.7. Obviously, it's going to be first position. As for some reason, my D-pad on my controller is not working. That is very annoying. But Luke Davies goes to the top in first position. Hold on a second, I'm going to change this controller. You know, I've just realised why my D-pad mightn't be working, because you don't use D-pad to change players on F1, do you? You use it to change on Gran Turismo, and I've been commentating on Gran Turismo all day, so I'm just being stupid again. This is a lovely start of proceedings here. Luke Davies goes to the top with a 1:10.328. Sam Crumpton in 2nd. Next across the line is going to be the Red Bull Racing man of Lewis McWilliam, but he is only getting on a run. Let's go on board with the Red Bull man as he heads into turn 1 of Sandovo.
Keep an eye on him and to see what he does. So coming up the hill here, and we'll listen to the corners. You just see precision at Casino Square. Make sure it's looking alright for him in the moment, Lewis. Now down towards Mirabeau. Let's see, get the braking just right, and then the hairpin. He's got all the lows hairpin, if I'm not mistaken. And keeping to 3rd here, so very much in high gears. The track we often would be a common enough one to use first, as he's past 48. And well, it plays where certain Red Bull did crash in rather odd circumstances. Entering the Belgian game, good there, not too. Now to the back, and then swimming pool section, usually just the nice and knit tight, just precise here. Oh, just a little early. And then last where Anthony knows he's got the job done, for getting round here. That's 90% of it, and it's pole.
Pole position for Lewis McWilliam. He used to hate this track. He quite likes it now in these cars. Lewis is on pole ahead of Jake Marsh in second position. Next across the line is going to be the Ferrari of Glennon, but that's only getting on a lap. We'll stick with the Ferrari here then, as it's very spaced out on the track. That's due to the low numbers, of course. But we had Habib McCook join us as well, the Williams racing driver, alongside Ryan McNally, who isn't here again this evening, unfortunately. Glennon heading up through, or heading down into, I should say, Upper Mirabeau, towards the Lowe's hairpin. Little nick on the inside wall, now into Lowe's hairpin. Down to Lower Mirabeau, and in towards Portier, as Brendan rightly said. Bit of controversy with the Red Bulls. Nice through there from the Ferrari. This is not a shabby lap. A fun fact, Harry's other account is actually 8th in the world in Monaco time trial. Shall say no more. But in towards the chicane now, the Ferrari heading through there. This is not a bad run, actually. Now into war. Oh, I can't remember this corner name. The left-hander of, is it Tabac? I think it's Tabac.
It's Tabac before swimming pool, yeah.
Yes, it is. It's Tabac. In towards the swimming pool, in towards the Rascas, and then in towards Anthony. No, the final corner. Little nick on the inside wall. It's going to be a Ferrari. Going to continue up along. And that's only going to be 8th position, 1:11.9. There was a lot of mistakes on that lap that are going to have to be ironed out towards the end of the session. Kyle's saying you need sleep, Evan. Yes. Yes, I do.
Well, I suppose, some often the Indies race, you may feel like, yeah, you haven't actually got that much sleep, because Monaco requires such concentration levels. And so it is about 39 laps of just 100% focus on the task at hand. You can't afford to really take a break here in Monaco, because there's no straight long enough for you to actually give yourself a few seconds to cool down.
And the thing about it on this game as well is there's no real safety cars around Monaco. It's very rare you see a safety car in Monaco. So it is genuinely 39 laps of on the limits. We're looking at now Morris Stumer. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but the German making his debut as a reserve entry for Red Bull Racing. He's replacing Adrian Teicher, who's playing his final hockey game of a season. But Morris goes to 6th position now, just behind Dara Smith. I say just behind. There's a very healthy gap between Dara Smith and Morris, as he does have Tyler Pistilli and stuff behind. I'm still pressing the D-pad to go down drivers, so hence why we might go up a few times. But Dara Smith, no front wing heading through the Rascas, so something's gone majorly wrong for the Haas.
Yeah, it's probably not the best circumstances to be in at Monaco, because, well, Monaco, this is the circuit where you just pile on the downforce, because you're not going to gain anything from having a nice car in the straight line. But for now, it's... Yeah, he's just going to have to try go again here. And we just hope for as long as he, I suppose, with the... Well, a bit of space here on track. That'd be the main thing, just to maybe avoid the walls this time.
Here comes Lewis McWilliam then, setting on his second lap of the session. 8 minutes and 51 to go. Currently, Lewis sits at the top of the timing sheets with a 109.748 in towards the swimming, oh, not the swimming pool section, Casino Square, down towards Upper Mirabeau. Cheeky weather report says it is all dry in the race, so we do have these conditions for the full evening here. A bit of a slide heading through Lower Mirabeau. Oh, real kick out of the rear there for Lewis McWilliam. He's held it well though. And the Red Bull men heading through the famous tunnel and in towards the Nouvelle Chicane. Oh, has he actually tapped that outside wall? I think he might have. Or actually, it could just be a little bit of lag for Lewis McWilliam. I think that's what's happening there. He's not actually hitting a wall. In towards Tabac, right along the grandstand, in towards the swimming pool, which is a fairly difficult corner at the best of times. It's especially with these bigger cars. Through the Rascas, this is still a decent run from McWilliam. whether he did have a good first sector or not. Didn't quite catch the split time, but that's certainly a very quick last sector. Here comes McWilliam down towards the start finish line, narrowly improves, still in the 109.7s, but a narrow improvement for Lewis McWilliam. Jake Marsh is improving by a tenth and a half in towards the Rascasse. Short shifts up to third gear, heading through Anthony No. Short shift up to fourth, and now on exit you can really go up the gears and accelerate on the longest straight here in Monaco. And Jake Marsh steals pole position with a 109.697. That's a really good last sector, much smoother than McWilliam. McWilliam was real slidey through there, and he's had pole taken off him for the time being. Tyler Pistilli doing his multiple runs. Glennon improving in the first sector. That's an 18.7 for Glennon there. Ferrari currently 1 and 9. Of course, Ferrari won the first 2 Monaco Grand Prix here in Formula Virtual Racing. Danny had Camper winning in Season 1. Thomas Main winning in Season 2 after a post-race penalty for Jack Redmond. They'd love another win here this evening. There's been no real consistency in terms of who is driving for the Ferrari team. And of course, Thomas vacating the seat after round number 1.
Oh, that's McWilliam gone round.
Oh, McWilliam gone round. So Lewis has had a bit of a spin. This is a much better attempt from Glennon heading through the final chicane. And she's had to slow down. She's been impeded by Lewis. That is very unfortunate. And Lewis did have that spin. I think he might have been on an in-lap anyways, but he certainly is into the pits now. Glennon improves to 6th position. Let's see what Dara Smith can do heading in towards Casino Square and down towards Upper Mirabeau. You have to just pull out to the right-hand side to avoid that bump in the road. That's a purple sector 1 for Dara. It's an 18.5. Decent run there. I'm actually not sure if it is purple, but it's certainly much better than his previous attempt. It could be up near the likes of Luke Davies and Lewis McWilliam. Speaking of Davies, he's on an outlap. Sam Crumpton has invalidated. What about Morris? Is he improving? Well, we'll take a look in a few moments, but Dara is slightly ahead of him on the track, heading towards the Nouvelle chicane. There is a McLaren, his championship rival, Luke Davies, in front. Honestly, if you had told me the championship battle would be between Dara Smith and Luke Davies heading into round 4, I would have looked at you like you had 10 heads, but that's the way it's played out. And Alfa Romeo pulls out of the way. That's Sam Crumpton who pulls out of the way of Dara Smith. Smith was improving, but not really by enough to take pole position. Needs a monster final sector. We'll have one more bite of the cherry after this one, of course, but here comes Dara Smith up and across the line. There is an improvement, but he's got to stay in 4th. Doesn't quite beat Sam Crumpton. What about Morris? What can he say? Can he go up near the top? He's going to not actually improve at the end of that one. Disappointing there for him. What about Santiago Araujo making his FVR debut? Was the Ferrari team boss last season, and certainly did a better job than Mattia Binotto.
Oh yeah, he's gone now. This might be sore, but doesn't really seem to change all that much there.
To be fair, they haven't had a howler yet. Like, I mean, they had actually a fairly decent strategy in Saudi Arabia.
But even still, they were a bit mid.
Yeah, I think the car's just a bit mid though, but I don't think that's really Fred Vasseur's fault unless he, of course, designed it. Sam Crumpton heading through the Nouvelle chicane though in a Ferrari-powered Alfa Romeo. That's a McLaren pulling to the left-hand side before it's a back. Oh, Crumpton clatters to the outside wall, and that lap will be done. Needs to get out of the way. The car behind him. No, that is just that same McLaren. That's Luke Davies, who actually invalidated his lap. Sam Crumpton clattering that outside wall. Very lucky not to pick up any major damage. And have they just impeded the Red Bull? There seems to be a real traffic jam at the Rascasse. Smith pulls into the pit lane, so does Luke Davies, and so does Morris. So there was no real impeding there. Andrew Davis is the only man on a push lap now, as he is heading through the tunnel.
Let's see, where will this Apatow be placing? Oh, there. And that's a go. Oh, that's commentator's course by me. We'll take the look there.
It is a commentator's curse, but that is Andrew Davis in the wall, unfortunately, for him. 3 minutes and 31 to go. It's very close at the top. Jake Marsh still on provisional pole position here in Monaco. How Jake would love to win another FVR race. He's not won since Season 5 in Portugal. That was a long, long time ago. It's his one and only FVR race win. He would love another.
No, yeah, and that's the Alpine is sticking to the pits. No, it's not the Stig, it's the Stig's FVR cousin, apparently. I hope someone got that.
I think everyone should get that, and if you don't, you're not welcome here. Please stay. Please stay. We want your views. Please stay. But Lewis McWilliam's going to head through the spin. But Lewis has come out really early on the circuit. He is still on his out lap. He's not started his push lap yet, but he is out really early. And is this going to be one of those Lewis McWilliam moments that will be remembered for quite a while? He had one in Singapore where he had to turn around a margin that was about 800 times greater than this one. With McWilliam in towards turn number 1. Car in front does have to get out of the way, does so nicely. That's Sam Crumpton. Good driving there from Sam. In towards Casino Square. McWilliam got to just get down the gears and rotate the car in nicely. Don't want to be too quick on the throttle. You also want to avoid that bump. Big first sector from McWilliam. 18.3. That's quicker than what we've seen any time today in towards Lowe's hairpin. Down one of the best viewing spots for car spotting in Monaco. And for seeing Citroens go upside down. In towards the tunnel though goes the Red Bull. Flying under the buildings. And really putting on a show under these lights. Heading into the back now, McWilliam has to be closer to these walls than he will be for the rest of the weekend if he wants to take pole. That's a huge middle sector, 51.4. This is a monster of a time from Lewis McWilliam. This is what he's best at, and it is performing under pressure in qualifying. Might not necessarily have the bottle in the race, but he certainly is good under pressure conditions in qualifying. This is going to the line, and this is going way quicker than Jake Marsh. 0.4 of a second, Lewis takes pole. He said if pole was a 109.2, he'll take it. He certainly has. What can Jake produce? He's invalidated on his lap. He will get around for another attempt. What can Luke Davies produce in the first sector? He needs to get about 0.7 of a second here if he wants to beat Lewis McWilliam and take pole. Never Luke's strongest track, and that's certainly not Luke's strongest first sector. We'll keep an eye on Sam Crumpton as well, see what he can set in the first sector. Needs to go under an 18.3, does an 18.7, so Lewis just has the legs on everybody in that first sector. What about Morris? What can he do in this first sector? It's an 18.9, an improvement on his best time. And we'll keep an eye on Borbune as well. Jake is going to get on his merry way to start his final lap of the session. Lewis is just coasting it home to the pit lane. He's got the job done. He didn't want to be impeded. I think that's why he came out of the pits early. What about Luke Davies? He is backed off here, so Luke is going to go again. Luke has decided to abandon this one. What about Sam Crumpton? This is where he crashed on his previous attempt. Very smooth through there. He is narrowly down on his lap. Sam needs to find a lot of time if he wants to gain a spot, so he's giving it his all in towards the Rascast. This will be his final attempt of the day, so he's got to keep pushing on it. Short shifting up the gears through Anthony No, and across the line. Where's this lap going to be for the Brit? It is going to keep him fourth. Big improvement in the end. Jake Marsh narrowly improving. What about Luke Davies? How is he improving up the hill? We'll take a look as he heads through Casino Square and in towards Upper Mirabeau. 18.5, much better from Davies. Jake is invalidated. That's the end of the session for Jake Marsh. Dara Smith, 18.5 in the first sector. What can Glennon do heading through the tunnel? What about Tyler Pistilli even? He's usually very good here. Pistilli up by about 0.4 of a second. Oh, there's a crash at Alpine. Oh, that's completely thrown him off. That is Santiago is in the wall, and that's completely thrown Tyler Pistilli off his lap. And anybody would have been thrown off by that. That car was stuck in the middle of the circuit. He was lucky he ghosted through, but still, that would have thrown him off. Luke Davies is invalidated. Dara Smith is improving, 51.9 in the middle sector. He's been thrown off by the Alpine as well. He's got his line completely wrong in the swimming pool, and he's out. And he's out of the session. He's crashed. Where Leclerc, Verstappen have all crashed. Glennon spins into the pit lane, actually. That's the end of qualifying. And everyone else has not really done anything at the end of that session. Unless your name is Lewis McWilliam, who has aced it and goes on pole position for the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's... he got the nicest run out of everyone. Although, for the likes of Tyler Pistilli, you're going to be furious because, well, you've never lost out in that time because someone's just crashed ahead of you, and Dara Smith will be thinking to himself as well, what happened?
I think Lewis McWilliam might have been the only one to improve position come the end of the session. But he takes pole position for the Monaco Grand Prix with a time of a 109.265. Jake Marsh in second position, followed by Luke Davies. It's then Sam Crumpton, Borbune, Dara Smith, Clay Glennon, Morris, Tyler Pistilli, Andrew Davis, Habib McCook, Santiago Araujo, and then it is Matthew Stotts, who didn't get a time in, and neither did Harley Fox. We will be back in a couple of moments. Welcome back to Monaco, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for the famous Monaco Grand Prix. Once described as like riding a bicycle around your living room, it really is the toughest challenge on the Formula 1 calendar. 3.337 kilometres, 2.074 miles and 19 corners is what the drivers face here this evening, and one DRS zone. We head back to the on-track action and we can see a mix-in strategy. It is hards for Lewis and Jake, it's mediums for Luke Davies, Sam Crumpton and Borbune, hards for Dara Smith, mediums for Glennon and Morris, hards for Pestilli. It is then mediums for Andrew Davis, Habib McCook, Santiago and Matthew Stotts, and then it is hards for Harley Fox. Brendan, who wins this one?
Usually at Monaco, you have to back the pole sitter, and well, McWilliam, it's in his control. However, from my recollection, he's not got the nicest of records around Monaco. So he's going to have to prove his own track record wrong, but I'd say he's in the best position to do this. So he's Lewis McWilliam for the win if he can keep it cool.
If Lewis can keep it cool, and that's something Lewis needs to probably work on a little bit. As you can see, this is one of the first times in a long while where ROS or NCW has not been in the top 5 of an FVR standings, probably last 3 seasons. Lewis could do with a win tonight for his championship charge. Maybe he might be able to get it. Welcome along, folks. If you're just joining us, you have joined at the perfect time. This is the Monaco Grand Prix. Harley Fox will line us up on the grid to get us ready to go here in Monte Carlo. Down towards turn number 1. He lines up in his grid slot very slowly. Doesn't want to park outside of it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Red lights. And we go racing here in Monte Carlo. Really good start from Sam Crumpton there in the second row. Looks like Davies is up alongside Jake Marsh as well. Davies is up alongside Jake Marsh into turn number 1, and Davies is up into second, side by side up the hill. The McLaren's got the jump on Jake Marsh. Really good start. Sam Crumpton fighting with Borbune as well. Andrew Davis has got a good launch as well as Santiago. Harley Fox getting a good launch as well on the hards, despite those not being the best tyre for a race start. McWilliam leads into Upper Mirabeau for the first time. Luke Davies trying to attack him, and Luke Davies trying to lead in this Monaco Grand Prix. He's never won a Monaco Grand Prix as Luke Davies. He'd certainly love to do it now. Jake Marsh as well in the 3rd position, looking to try and regain that spot he lost, but Davies got up nicely alongside the Briton in towards turn number 1 and did get the job done. Tyler Pestilli having some problems at the back. He picked up a 5-second time penalty and he's down to 14th. He's going to have to try work his way through the pack, but Lewis McWilliam with a very good race start leads here in Monaco, but only 0.5 of a second behind is the tied championship leader of Luke Davies. Yellow flag, that's Harley Fox, and he's out. He's not even completed a lap of running in both qualifying and the race. Harley Fox is out right on the racing line. Oh my goodness me, how has Pestilli snuck through there? But that's Harley Fox, that's his day done.
Yeah. An early end to qualifying, early end to his race. It's just been a bit of a baptism of fire for Harley Fox today.
I don't even think he got out of the garage in qualifying, and he hasn't made it round to the 3rd sector here in the race. It's a horrible weekend for Harley Fox, but nevertheless, Jake on the hards and Luke on the mediums is why Jake is starting to fall a little bit early on here. He's got to try keeping the DRS of Luke if he wants to keep with the front two, because of course Lewis has the pace to lead this one on the hards. But he is still going to be under pressure from Luke Davies. Down the order, it was Santiago who got the best start. He's up 3 spots to 9, and he's starting to back up Glennon very early on. I think if Glennon still wants a good result in this one, she's going to have to try and make an overtake, because the Alpine is already regenerating battery. He's already on less than 10%. That's probably not a good sign.
Yeah, and it can be difficult to regenerate sometimes, because with the more downforce you have, it just makes it that bit harder to regenerate, and what you do use, it's...
Oh, hit the back of the Alpine. Glennon's in the back of the Alpine. Is there front wing damage potentially? No, stays out. Even if there is, this needs to be a move in towards Sandevo. It's not gonna be though, not close enough. Potentially up the hill if Santiago gets it all wrong through Sandevo. Apologies. Glennon has got the run.
Backing her up in the right places. It's the... Yeah. Because,
oh, that's Dara Smith round. That's Dara Smith, and his front wing's absolutely destroyed. Whoa, that's a controversial one, because Smith, of course, tied for the championship lead, has shattered his front wing, and now it's going to be even slower for the Alpine, Ferrari and Williams. Dara Smith crashed in a very similar spot that Mick Schumacher crashed. Smith's going to have to pull out of the way here. This is dangerously slow for the Haas, but obviously he's not gonna. And Habib McCook has gone up the inside of the Ferrari. Things get worse for Glennon. She's falling down the points now. Potentially a dive in towards the Nouvelle chicane. Oh, look at this, treading the needle up the inside. Oh, McCook has to cut the corner, but he couldn't, because there's a Haas in the way and there's more contact. Oh, Smith lucky not to be out of the race. There was even more contact. Smith was pushed into the barrier by Habib McCook. There was not really much either of them could do. It was just a car park, quite literally, at the Nouvelle chicane. Glennon gets back past McCook. McCook falls to 10th. Andrew Davis into the pit lane. Maybe him and Dara Smith made contact. Glennon has to get this spot on Santiago, because this is really costing her a lot of time, as well as Habib McCook. But we know how difficult it is to overtake in Monte Carlo, and Santiago is playing his cards beautifully here. This is good defending by the debutant.
Yeah, it seems like Glennon's catching, but Santiago knows just how to cover up any opportunity, because in a way he could nearly go slightly quicker, but then be caught.
Wow, Pastilli back with the train. He's already passed. Oh no, this is really slow. Pastilli has already passed Matthew Stotts. Apologies, brain just took a blank. But yeah, this is almost getting dangerously slow. This is a McFall train, and rather ironically, it's Aaron McFall's car that he's doing it in, because Aaron, of course, drives for Alpine, and the other Alpine is not here this evening. That's Yathan Pengu, the German. But rather ironically, that is Aaron's car, and Santiago is completing the McFall train. Glenn's going to have to dive it here. Glenn's going to have to just send one, and unfortunately, that doesn't always work out in Monaco, because Santiago is backing up in the right places, and that's Andrew Davis out. Andrew Davis has crashed at the Nouvelle chicane. We saw Dara Smith hit that wall. It's a little bit more fatal, and that's Matthew Stotts out as well, and he's retired in the pit lane.
Oh. What? What's Dara Smith now with me? Oh no, Glennon's in the wall.
Oh, Glennon's in the wall. Glennon's round and in the wall. This isn't going to end well, is it? This really isn't going to end well. I'm getting a lot of bad feelings about this Monaco Grand Prix so far. This has been a messy one. We're already down 3 runners. Matthew Stotts just decided he didn't fancy it anymore. But Andrew Davis and Harley Fox have both already crashed. It's now Pastilli's turn to try and get past Santiago. And Tyler Pastilli, after being involved in a few incidents, especially the one last week in Portugal, I have a feeling he's not going to take any prisoners.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just, you have one of them races where it's just suddenly going your way, and then next time you're just not willing to let anyone else take it away from you.
Santiago, he's not even remotely on the pace, but for some reason he's just good out of the right corners. It's puzzling me.
I'll tell you what he's doing. He's just backing him up. He's being slow on the apex. Like, nobody can do anything there because if you hit him, your wing's gone. And if you don't, but you stick behind, you'd rather stick behind than lose.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. This is an audacious sound. Oh, that's slightly dangerous from Santiago. That's very dangerous from Santiago. You cannot do that. That was Pistilli's line round the outside, and Habib McCook is now trying to force a move up the inside of Tyler Pistilli. Dara Smith has gone for the softs and sets the fastest lap, so he's going to get a point at least out of this one. He'll get 2 points as it stands. But, yeah, Pistilli not able to work a move past Santiago. There's the Alpine just backing up in the right places.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, I'm going to wonder if it actually would. Yeah, well, to be fair, we had the fall train, but I think at this point we may as well call that car the Alp train.
And I know Alonso did a bit of a train in Alpine, didn't he? Was that 2021?
Yeah, and 2022, I believe. He did on Hamilton, I believe. Where I think...
Not surprising.
Yeah, with all the whole qualifying red flag stuff. End up Alonso with Hamilton, and
here comes Pistilli. This is a good opportunity for Pistilli around the outside. He's trying the up and under. Oh, he's hit the back of the Alpine. It was a good idea, but it's not worked out. Pistilli is not very happy, although there was nothing really Santiago did wrong there. He was just slow at the apex once again. And
I think it's
no. This is horrendous driving. That's really bad. He's just completely stopped in the middle of the corner and he's been tapped round. It was... How it didn't happen earlier is beyond me.
No, it's just I think Pistilli was the first one who's really actually hit him. The rest of them just stopped before, or maybe Santiago was just pushing his luck a bit too much.
Gave a spot to Habib McCook as well. He got past Tyler Pistilli. Oh, he's actually locked up. He's gone across the chicane, and now Pistilli is looking for a move up the inside and towards the back. Oh, this is dangerous. Oh, thank goodness me, Tyler decided to back out, yeah. Thankfully he backed out because we could have had 2 more retirements fairly easy there. And Tyler Pistilli... Oh, Habib McCook in the wall now. Monaco really not being an easy track for these guys. Normally we don't see this many cars making this many mistakes early on, but we certainly have. And Tyler Pistilli now into the slipstream. Is he able to work a move past Habib McCook? No, not now. Habib defends well. Pistilli going to try his famous round the outside move that he tried in Santiago. Not able to make it work. He's weaving up the straights here for some reason. Is he going to try it round the outside? No, he's not. This is the corner where it all went wrong in the last lap. It's not going to go wrong on this time. Habib carries enough momentum.
He's got the place.
Oh no, I think Habib might have actually let him through.
No, not. I don't know. That seemed weird.
Yeah, that's a weird one. But nevertheless, Pistilli is true, and might have taken him a couple of laps longer than he would have liked, but he is true. And Tyler Pistilli now up to 7th.
Yeah, it's Pistilli. He's had a bit of trouble trying to get this position, but now he should have a bit of free track ahead for him to start going after the Red Bull. On the right side, it does seem like this most drives here are spaced out. Luke has fallen off the back of Lewis.
Lewis is coming up to lap Chloe and Santiago. It's lap 9.
We have 30 laps of racing after this.
It's lap 9. He might lap the entire field at this rate. I know it's because of a pit stop, but still. It's lap number 9. Because that's Habib into the pit lane, so he probably had damage actually and was just letting Tyler through.
Yeah, that would make sense. I suppose being caught up behind that chaos, he probably did pick up something.
As Jake Marsh is starting to close in the gap on Luke Davies, the mediums might be falling off already, or else Luke just doesn't have the pace. But Lewis McWilliam heading off into the sunset already to pick up his first win of the season. Can't believe it's round 4 and he hasn't won a race yet, but he's looking to pick up his first race of the season. Yellow flag actually. No, that's Santiago who's round again, and he's now in the wall at Casino Square. He's pulled out of it, still in the race is Santiago. And there was definitely a bit of debris there, but it doesn't look like there's any damage on his front wing. But I definitely saw something fall off. Unless my mind is just deceiving me. But nevertheless, that's another pit stop. That's Morris, who's into the pits for Red Bull Racing. Pastilli now gets that spot, and he's back up to 6th. So after all that shenanigans at the start, Tyler Pastilli's worked his way back up to 6th fairly quickly. It's only taken him 10 laps.
Yeah, you see, interesting now. So Lewis, it's all calm here now, but sometimes you know, if you don't have how much experience is actually, who's that going slow? Oh, that's Santiago, I believe.
As the Ferrari of Glennon is in for a second pit stop, that means Glennon's now a lap down. As is Santiago as well. So that's now Glennon probably a lap down for the remainder of the race. Because
it's
unlikely we're going to get a safety car, and Lewis has probably already got a pit stop gap.
And even then, you don't know how you're going to get yourself unlapped at Monaco is a difficult enough task. If the safety car did come.
Oh, that's a bit McCook out of the race.
Oh.
That's the second crash we've seen there, actually. He's not the first man to hit the inside wall of the Nouvelle chicane.
Ooh. Right there as well. Thankfully ghosted.
Thankfully. Dara Smith is in for another pit stop. The socks wasn't the option there. But that is a bit McCook out of the race, and we're already down to 10 runners here. It's the 11th lap of the Monaco Grand Prix. If Olivier Panis was here, he'd be getting some happy memories.
Yeah, Olivier Panis, he won, and there's about 3 others who finished after him. Mind you, I think another 3 were classified. Well, obviously they'd completed 90%, but then either failed to finish or just crashed.
Hopefully, we can finish the race with this number. I'd be very spectacle, but hopefully we can. Because as of now, this one has become slightly dull, I feel. Luke Davies, though, is going to be under pressure from Jake Marsh. Jake is looking to try and get past the McLaren.
So, Tyler Pastilli, now, from being very much around chaos to now being in one of those tranquil environments, he's got 22 seconds in front and he's got 16 behind. So it's a fairly solitary existence for Tyler Pastilli at the moment.
He is in no man's land. That is literally it. He is in no man's land.
Actually, mind you, the guy behind him's actually be more so, because 16 in front and then 42 behind.
Yeah, that's very true. Dara Smith is just simply driving so he gets some points in this one, because as of now Luke Davies will extend his championship lead, and he'll be in a very comfortable spot heading into round number 5. Luke is having a very good season.
Can't get complacent around Monaco though. We've seen 4 people already out. And who knows, if Luke Davies isn't careful, you don't know, he might add to that list.
Yeah, you can't get complacent. You definitely can't get complacent, because you will crash.
Whether you crash or you get damage, and then your chances of getting back to where you were would be effectively about 1,000,000 to 1. Probably the same odds as getting a safety.
What did you say there, brother?
I'm just saying the odds of getting back into a race after damage is about 1,000,000 to 1. The same as getting a safety car around Monaco.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, they've ruined Monaco really on this game by not giving safety cars, because at least with safety cars, it's a little bit of it's a real messy race, and that can sometimes be very, very amusing. As apologies if there was a little bit of lag there, folks. We've dropped a few frames, but it should be okay now. But yeah, Jake is starting to put Luke under some pressure. We're on lap 14 of 39, meaning we're not actually halfway through yet, and that is Santiago into the pit lane once again. Lewis has a 5-second lead over Luke Davies, but Jake, of course, does have a penalty. That penalty, I believe, is 3 seconds. It is 3 seconds for Jake, Sam, 5 for Tyler, 3 for Chloe and Santiago. So a couple of penalties being picked up. Of course, easy to do so around here. You saw in qualifying a lot of invalidations. And that trend is continuing here into the main Grand Prix.
Yeah. So, Lewis, 5.2. Yeah, it's fairly comfortable for him at the moment here. You may... Well, this could be just a thing to springboard him back towards championship contention. I believe at the moment he's about 20 points. So that is... well, 37 points of a difference between himself and, well, Luke and Dara. However, he's going to be getting a loss on Dara today, and a couple of points on Luke at least.
Well, another thing is, thank you, Carl, for pointing out, Borbune in 5th and Luke in 2nd. McLaren are almost home and dry in the Constructors already. McLaren, coming into this round, were in a better spot by about 30 or so points than their championship winning season. And of course we've changed our point system this season as well, so it's less points for a win. But McLaren have been brilliant this season, and Luke and Borbune are performing at their best, in my opinion. They're both in their peak this season. Luke and Bor doing a very good job indeed. But Luke still has to absorb this pressure from Jake Marsh, and he is doing so as of now. But of course, he will be on worse tyres in the second stint as to Jake. Brendan, undercut or overcut? What would you go for if you're Jake?
Monaco, in real life, does lend itself to an overcut. A la Vettel Ricciardo 2017, Sergio Perez 2021, etc., etc. But in the game here, it's probably personal preference, and it's probably where you then do end up dropping into. Because if you can drop into space, then do so. But if it's a case where there's traffic around the area, you'd be finding back out into. Stay out, and then just hope that either they pit and open it up, or you can just go quick enough that you'd be ahead by the time you are up to going on massively.
Well, in terms of gap to the leader, it's 22 seconds from Lewis McWilliam to Borbune. So there is a big gap between Borbune and Tyler Pistilli. There's a lot of space in the track. We only have 10 drivers left, but there is a lot of space on the track for drivers to fall into. That's probably why Lewis is pushing. I'd say Lewis's goal here is to get out of the pit lane before Borbune. He's not going to get out before Luke or Jake. They're still too quick. But his goal is definitely to get out of that pit lane before Borbune, because Borbune could even start to hold him up, work with Luke, and back Lewis up into Luke. But I imagine Lewis is still going to do a few more laps on these set of hards. He'll try and get at least over the halfway point, and probably get to about lap 20, then maybe chuck on a set of the mediums and do the rest of the 19 laps. That'll probably be his goal. Maybe even go a little bit longer if he's still comfortable on the hards, which he is. He is comfortable on the hards for now.
Well, the problem for Luke here is that Jake Marsh is now catching up to him, so these mediums are starting to die off a little. And now the question is, if they want to work together, per se, Luke and Borbune, would Borbune stay out and try and hang on with these tyres as well? Luke's in.
Luke's made the call. Luke is into the pit lane. This is her set of the hard tyres to the end, so he's did 17 laps on those. We saw Jake was gaining. And he's come in. Liam Houseman in the chat asking to show Lewis's warnings. Liam, why aren't you racing, my friend? You should be racing. But here, let's have a look at Lewis's warnings. Lewis has 2. So Lewis has 2. Could potentially pick up a 3-second time penalty. Although if he was, it would make no difference. Now that's interesting. Luke has come out 3.7 seconds behind Borbune, meaning Lewis would probably come out in front of Borbune.
Yeah, that's a good point. Unless it was, actually no, with all the only way it would have really worked is if, Lewis had fallen behind Borbune, and in that process, Borbune was able to be blockade to Lewis, which would have allowed Luke to sing close up.
Yeah, that is the only way that would work. That's Sam Crumpton there into the pit lane. We saw many blockades cost drivers wins. Juan Hernandez, Legend Rosenberg, probably the most famous one where Legend lost a Monaco win. Although he is the king of Monte Carlo anyways, and Borbune is into the pit lane anyway. So there goes that idea. Lewis will come out in clean air. Unless Luke is trying a major undercut, but Lewis is still extending his gap to Jake Marsh. Let's just keep an eye on Lewis and see what type of sector times he's setting. That will determine how his tyres are feeling, but I imagine he'll still go on for a little bit longer. And the only person not on the hard tyres now, that is Glennon down 19th position, who is on the set of the mediums. There'll probably be another pit stop in this one for the Scuderia Ferrari, but Lewis heading in towards Tabak now has a 9-second lead over Jake Marsh. He's still very comfortable in this race, still very, very comfortable, and Jake has now picked up another 3-second time penalty. So now Luke has to do is just drive home to the finish, because there's no real chance that Jake can get past. If he can keep Jake behind, there's no real chance that you can get past and pull 6 seconds, because of course it's Monaco, very difficult to overtake. Jake does dive into the pit lane. Now technically Jake has crossed the yellow line there, but probably won't be reported from it. Jake is in for a set of the mediums, and he's going to do 19 laps to the end of this race. Now let's keep an eye on where Luke Davies is. Luke has pumped in some fast laps. He's 19 seconds behind Jake Marsh. I have a feeling Luke may be under a bit of pressure here. It seems like the overcut may be a good strategy. There is Jake exiting the pit lane. You'll see the McLaren fly down here. Of course, Jake has a shorter run through turn number 1. Heading through turn number 1. Look at this on the exit. Jake Marsh is out ahead. He's had a huge wobble out of the pit lane. Luke Davies has got to try run this run round the outside. Is he able to get the job done? Heading in towards Casino Square. He's right behind the Scuderia Ferrari. Jake Marsh might just be ahead here in this Monaco Grand Prix. Luke needs to try and overtake it towards Upper Mirabeau. No, the overcut has worked. Jake Marsh is up into 2nd position. Oh, he's ran wide. He's ran wide. Luke Davies alongside it towards the hairpin. They're side by side through Lowe's hairpin. Luke almost being pushed into the wall. This is great racing between the two. Jake now pushing Luke into the clutches of Sam Crumpton. Luke needs to have an excellent run down in towards the Novell chicane if he wants to try and get this spot. He'd love to stay ahead because Jake's going to be able to pull away. Jake has his tyres up to temperature. That's a really good call from Jake. Oh no, he's ran across the chicane and he's picked up another penalty. It's 9 seconds the time penalties for Jake Marsh. Now he has a job to do.
Yeah, that is seriously big job for Jake Marsh to do. It's going to be just trying to secure 2nd, because there's no way P1's going to come his way. There's Lewis McWilliam is he a pit stop ahead of 2nd?
Yes he is. Lewis could be on for a Grand Slam here, or a Grand Slam, what I was trying to say, instead of hybrid of them both. Borbune is past Tyler Pistilli, who comes into the pit lane. Let's see, can we take a look at the fastest lap? That goes and belongs to Dara Smith, who of course set that on the softs, but Lewis's PB on the hards is only 2/10 shy of it. Lewis could definitely be on for a Grand Slam here. Dara Smith is still 45 seconds behind Morris, so Dara Smith not even really on for a good result here either. He's only going to pick up a handful of points, and that's if he does finish. It could well be another retirement or two in this Grand Prix. Morris does pass Tyler Pistilli, so Pistilli going to have to get the job done once again on the Red Bull, but he's going to be on a lot better tyres here on lap 22.
Yeah, maybe just Smith, this is damage limitation. This is what it is. And it's just going to have to hope now that this damage limitation will work.
Yellow flag. That's Glennon.
That's
Glennon in the wall on the exit of the Novell chicane. This is going to be a fastest lap from Jake Marsh, I'd say. It is 12-1. That is an extra point for Jake Marsh's tally. Although, of course, he does still have that 9 seconds of penalties. That would probably drop behind Sam Crumpton at this point, but Sam does have a penalty himself. Jake Marsh now heading through Casino Square. He has a lot of work to do Although Jake could make this race very interesting if he was to get out in front, or if he was to stay in front of Lewis McWilliam, although I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, Lewis McWilliam. Just that bit clear. Although Marsh is, we have to be fair to him. Marsh is closing in a little bit. Shows that the mediums are a very nice tire early on here. But the hards probably come into a bit, although then again, actually, fair enough. William, he's going to come out now. Let's see where he is.
He's miles in front. He's miles in front. Not even going to be a question. Lewis is well in the lead of this race. And he just needs to do smooth laps home. And he will take a Grand Slam. He needs to take the fast lap as well, actually. That's Glennon on the wall once again. And that is Santiago, who has overtaken. So they go back to their battle. Jake Marsh is 4.7 seconds behind and has 9 seconds of time penalties. If Lewis somehow doesn't win this race, I'll PayPal someone £5. A reminder of our championship standings, though, before this evening, because, of course, Lewis winning this one dominantly. It's his first race win of the season, as Delay picks up a 3-second time penalty, but Luke Davies does have 57 points and will extend that championship lead over Dara Smith. It's Jonathan Jurgensmeyer who isn't here in third, so Borbune will inherit that one. And then Sam Crumpton. Sam Crumpton might actually gain that spot on Borbune. We'll have to wait and see, but Lewis then will propel himself up. Lewis, of course, he's not on our on-screen graphic, but in terms of the driver's standings, Lewis McWilliam is currently sat in 7th position with 20 points. He'll pick up another 20 points here this evening, or potentially 21. That will put him on 41. I think he will... I think he might go ahead of Sam Crumpton. I think he might break into the top 5. We'll just have to wait and see how the others score, of course, but it will be Lewis's first podium of the season. That is a scary thought after how dominant he was last season.
Yeah, William. Well, see, he can go for 3 in a row this season. Or, no, 2 in a row this season, but become 3-time champion, which will be equally less than most about. However, this will have to be part 1 of multiple great performances in order to close up that gap, because with the likes of Luke Davies there, we should be able to get P2 in this race. As Marsh says, a lot of penalties is from 9 seconds, so
although he's pulling away quite quickly.
Yeah, he is pulling away, so it could be a case that he does secure a podium.
Sam Crumpton right behind Luke Davies as well here, so Luke is struggling in these hards compared to Sam. Sam might look for the move past the McLaren in towards maybe the Nouvelle chicane. We'll have to wait and see. Well, I'm at 25 out of 39. About 14 laps-ish to go. Or 15 laps to go, I should say. Including this one. That gap up the front is coming down, Brendan. It is coming down. Although, Jake is going to have a serious attempt to win this one. He is closing on Lewis. I just hope for Jake's sake that he doesn't overdrive the car, because that's something he can do very easily.
Yeah, especially at Monaco, it doesn't really forgive you if you do try overdrive. Where other tracks you might just make a lock up.
There's a wiggle, exactly like we saw, and he's lost a lot of time there. This could be a fastest lap even from Lewis. This has been a really good last sector. No, doesn't quite go purple. That's not even quicker than Dara Smith's fastest lap, so Jake is the quicker of the two at the moment. What lap did Jake manage to do? Oh, we didn't quite catch it. Sam Crumpton, here comes Sam Crumpton around the outside of Sam Devoe, not able to get it done. Luke does defend well. He's going to make this McLaren as wide as possible for the remainder of this race to try and hang on to the podium. Luke, of course, won the opening 2 rounds, finished 3rd last week, and if he finishes 3rd this week, that still keeps him with a 100% strike rate this season. He would finish 4 podiums after 4 races, which I can't imagine he would have thought he would have had, especially with such a strong field. But he's proved himself, and he's proved Miami wasn't a fluke. Round 2 certainly wasn't a fluke in Paul Ricard. Portugal's comeback certainly wasn't a fluke, and Monaco as of now has not been a fluke for Luke, because he is performing very, very well. I couldn't think of another rhyming word. I apologise.
I was supposed to have a fluke without Luke. Oh, that's a bit harsh on him. He has been very,
very harsh on him. That's very harsh.
I know it is harsh. I suppose he has been very, very good this season. And performances like this, we did see this in season 6, where he was able to maximise the result at a track like Monaco and just limit the points lost to Lewis. Obviously, he's going to be gaining over Darrell Smith, so that is the main concern at the moment. So it will be about probably 18 points to 4, so that will open up a 14-point gap in the standings. Or no, that Darrell Smith, he's went a bit deep. He's certainly went for a red.
He's done a Rosberg, as Lando Norris once famously said on stream, and Darrell Smith has. He's gone off at Upper Mirabel. If you don't know what we're on about, Nico Rosberg in, was it 2016? I think it was 2016. 2014. Purposely ran into the runoff area to bring out the yellow flag, so Lewis Hamilton couldn't improve his qualifying lap. It's one of many Monaco mysteries. Michael Schumacher did it, of course, once. And there was rumours that Sergio Perez did it, and there was rumours that Charles Leclerc did it, and there was rumours that many others did it, but we don't really know if they did. Michael Schumacher definitely did it, and Nico Rosberg definitely did it, but the rest of them we don't know.
Well, Michael Schumacher, yeah, he definitely did do it, because he got called out by Fabio Briatore, and I think he'd know a thing or two about that.
Yeah, Flavio, like, if Flavio calls you out for cheating, you know you've done something wrong.
Yeah. And Darren's into the pit lane, so maybe he's going for another fastest lap attempt.
It would be an extra point.
Yeah.
So he'd take it. He'd also take a Grand Slam away from Lewis, who has just picked up a 3-second time penalty. Maybe the Scotsman starting to get a little bit in his own head. Kyle saying Perez definitely did it. Oh, I 100% agree with you, Kyle, but I'm just trying to be impartial. I think that's the correct word.
It is what it is.
So the FIA decided that Rosberg did do it intentionally. Yeah.
Think about it.
I'm not intentionally breathing right now either, Kyle, but it's still happening. So, that's my thoughts on it. But nevertheless, fun times in Formula 1. Now all we have is stupid cost cap scandals and the lot. Back when Formula 1 was interesting, and they stole each other's documents and used public printers to print out the information.
Oh yeah, that's a fun story.
That's a story for another time.
And someone went to one printer shop with a Ferrari superfan, and it resulted in the downfall of Fernando Alonso's career.
Oh, Formula 1. What would we do without you? We could get into a full list of F1. You know those, like, unveiling the iceberg YouTube videos? We could do a full one here just on the amounts of crap. Even in form of virtual racing, I reckon we could do it. Because, like, just in Monaco alone, you have the Jack Redmond Season 2 incident at turn number 1, where he desynced and killed about 6 people, including Tyler Davison in the racing points. What other ones do we have in Monaco? We have Marcel Maggiera. Oh, no, not Marcel. It wasn't Marcel, it was someone else. Brady did it as well, but there was someone else who took out Danny Headcamper in qualifying. Marcel Maggiera.
I thought it was Marcel.
It might have been Marcel. But Brady definitely took out Harry Delaney into the Rascas in season
that's true.
3.
We had the Juan Hernandez-Ledger Rosberg incident where one was a roadblock.
That was peak Juan Hernandez. That was absolutely peak Juan Hernandez.
Yeah. It was a masterclass in defending, and while Legend he threw one or two cracks in him, but around that kind of time we had the Alan McFall strategy that worked out. Lewis has picked up a time penalty, actually. So I'm sure
picked that up
be
a few laps ago, Brendan.
I know.
That was Darragh Smith who set a fastest lap as well, just to note. So he's taking that fastest lap off Jake Marsh. Jake is still closing that gap up the top. But, you know, sometimes I do miss Swan, because there was often moments like that defence where you're just like, this is just bloody brilliant. As even that defending on Thomas May in Britain in Season 7, where Juan simply decided Legend was winning the championship today, and he defended the absolute life out of the two Mercedes. That was brilliant. I enjoyed that. I think the best bit of that was where Thomas struggled to get past all race, and then Luke got past within one lap because Juan's tyres were just shot.
I think that was just Luke on child difficulty. Or, no, he's usually not on it, but he turned it on there.
That was interesting. Juan. Well, we miss Juan. We do. We really do. Because there was often moments like that where it was just a masterclass.
He's a character, in a way.
He really was the Fernando Alonso of Formula Virtual Racing. He really was. He was the villain. Like, without question, everyone saw him as the villain.
See, yeah, the trajectory has worked out that way. Everything's, like, first couple of seasons wasn't really that much, probably been the unluckiness of Alonso. And then the villain side did come out. Although I would say, I argue, he had a bit more luck at Season 6. He could well be done with Fernandez as a champion, as opposed to just being a king without a crown.
Yeah, I think a Juan Championship is what this league needs to be revived. I think that's what we need. Kyle agreeing with us saying he's box office. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Juan is box office. Like
Juan and Kyle remontada needed.
Yeah. Kyle, like, genuinely has such an underrated FVR career. When he races, he usually does very well. It's not like he's not like he just saunters at the back like other reserves who do one-offs. But no, Kyle and Enzo have very underrated FVR careers, in my opinion.
Yeah, Kyle and Enzo on one. I reckon if you had 3-car teams, that would be a fun 3-car team.
Juan just needed a championship to be recognised as one of the greatest, I think. Because
it's a matter of luck, I think. It's just didn't get in the right places.
Yeah. Juan just has terrible luck. That's a yellow flag. That's a McLaren in the wall. That's Borbune who's gone round, actually. He wasn't quite in the wall. So I think he's kept his front wing. He has a big gap behind to Tyler Pistilli. But Juan is 5th in the most wins. I'm just looking at the stats now. He's 5th in the most wins. In terms of most podiums, he's 3rd. In terms of most races, he is 2nd. In terms of career points, he's still 2nd as well. Like, genuinely, all he is missing is a championship.
Yeah, it's just the one little thing. I'm coming to think of it. It could have happened in Season 3 with a bit more luck. Season 4, not so much. Season 5, perhaps. It was technically a side championship finish. But I'd say Season 6, he had the 2 wins at France and Netherlands, which were extremely well earned. And if maybe a bit of luck had come his way that season, in a way it might have come from the likes of Luke Davies. Who knows?
Yeah, just back to this Monaco Grand Prix and Juan's old teammate Jake Marsh. Kyle saying Lewis has lost loads of time. I did spot that, and I agree.
Yeah.
I think Lewis may have some front wing damage. He did tap the wall at the casino, just very briefly he got out of the pit lane. There's no visual damage, but that means practically nothing in this game. But Lewis could be under some pressure. He certainly could.
The issue is now, Jake's got to think about this. He technically could secure P2 here by just keeping up pace and maybe then just letting Luke fall away a little more. But if he wants to go for something here, just see if he can force McWilliams' hand into a mistake. Who knows?
Like, if he can make Lewis make a big mistake here, he could still win this race.
Yeah, that is true. But McWilliams, he's going for this long enough. I think you can't mess up now, because then everything else is gone. And it's probably going to be a huge blow to this championship hopes. They already have suffered a few blows with being race banned for round 3 and not scoring in the feature race of round 2.
Yeah, like, Lewis hasn't scored since his win in the sprint in round number 2, where he did win the sprint, and then he picked up a P4 in Miami. So he could do it the full 20 today.
Yeah, even then, that P4 could have been a win, however, or well, it could have been a P2 even.
He's hit the wall again. Lewis has hit the wall again, and that end plate, hanging on for dear life somehow, the Red Bull, is made out of a very, very...
Davies is now starting to catch a little.
Yeah, that's what took my mind completely. Just noticed Lucas gained about 0.3 of a second in the last sector. This could all get very interesting in the final few laps. Of course, it's not an on-track battle, it is a time battle.
Oh, it's being marched to a corner again, so he's got to be careful, otherwise that position may well have just gone. However, well, P3 is secure because Crumpton's picked up penalties himself. This is difficult for Marsh. I think that Haas is going to be a bit of trouble, and that is Dara Smith of all people.
Now, Dara has to be careful. He does have to get out of the way. He does have to obey blue flags.
Well, unless he's able to unlap himself from McWilliam.
Yeah, that's obviously what he's trying to do. He's trying to unlap himself.
Well, what's the real pro-con in that situation? Because if you're trying, and well, that's Lennon, that's just cross the yellow flag. So.
Oh, Marsh round! Oh, Jake Marsh round! Oh. He spotted an over chicane! We said he often makes mistakes at the wrong times. Jake has once again overdriven the car, and that is second place gone in this race. That could be third place gone in this race. Lewis has this one well sorted now, and Luke has second well sorted. That is another bottle, unfortunately, from Jake Marsh.
Oh dear, and that's... You won't even have P2 on track now.
Oh, now Luke's made a mistake! Now Davies has gone round! Sam Crumpton is up to third place in this one. Another twist in this Monaco tale. This is really all kicking off here. Is there going to be any more mistakes? Are the tyres just starting to fade a little bit on all these cars? This is going to be a very interesting finish.
Well, Davies is lucky with all the penalties here.
Yeah, we're gonna go gap to leader because I think it'll be pretty much. I think it'll be easier to calculate. Sam Crumpton has 6 seconds of penalties and Jake has 9, so Luke will still take second as of now. But has he got any damage or anything? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's just a simple spin. So Davies will be annoyed with himself, but I don't think it's going to cost him anything points wise. Probably a bit slightly bruised ego, but in terms of actual damage to the championship, should be non-existent.
Is that a spark coming out of the barrier, the Nouvelle chicane?
Yeah, that's been a thing at Monaco. There's often been a spark.
Lennon's obviously just spotted it as well, because she hasn't got across the chicane. But nevertheless, penultimate lap of the race. Who is that who's joined the lobby? I don't know, but someone's just decided they fancied to join the lobby. As, I believe that's Liam Houseman's friend, actually. Why is he here? Nevertheless, Luke is very lucky that Saber and Jake have those penalties, otherwise that could have been very costly.
Yeah. And Marsh would be furious himself, because if Davies had done that spin without him spinning also, that P2 would have been secured.
By a long shot, it would have been secured as well.
Yeah. What I'd say for Lewis here. Oh, he's picked up another.
He's picked up another penalty. Jake is well and truly kicking himself now because all he would have had to do was try a move and get 3 seconds, not 6. Lewis has picked up a 6-second time penalty. Or 6 seconds worth of time penalties, I should say. But he's heading on to the last lap anyways, is the Scotsman. I'm surely going to bring this one home unless there is a huge error, which there shouldn't be because he's been squeaky clean apart from a couple of wall taps and the 2 penalties. There's been no big mistakes from Lewis. It goes to show, actually, without that spin, could Luke Davies maybe have won this one?
No.
Would have been interesting.
It would have been close, but I'm not sure it would have actually happened.
Yeah, I'm not too sure myself.
Well, actually, maybe it would have, or maybe not. If Lewis, let's say, picked up that penalty, Marsh would be right behind him. Davies would have been a bit too far away.
Anyways, Lewis heading through the final couple of corners. He had an excellent quality lap as Luke's picked up a penalty of himself, but Lewis had an excellent qualifying lap to take pole position. He's led from the front, has a little bit of a drift around the final corner, and for the first ever time in his illustrious career, Lewis McWilliam wins the Monaco Grand Prix and really sets his mark on this season. He wants to come back in this championship. Jake Marsh will cross the line in second position. Sam Crumpton will take second position, and then Luke, I think, is going to take it now. Luke does take second, Sam Crumpton third, Jake Marsh fourth, Borbune will take fifth, Tyler Pistilli takes the fastest lap and sixth, although Morris is still pushing to try take it on debut as he heads through the Nouvelle chicane. Next across the line, though, is going to be Borbune to come home in fifth. McLaren with another good result. Second and fifth is exactly what they would have wanted, because that is an impressive finish from them.
There's some good points here for Borbune there. That's absolutely not detailed. Dara is going to get 8th, so it is some form of points.
Yeah, he does pick up 2 points, does Dara Smith. Or 3 points, does Dara Smith, apologies.
Yeah, 3
Santiago,
points.
oh, into the wall goes Santiago. Glennon comes home in 10th, so it's another point for Glennon. Santiago will take 9th on his debut. And I couldn't tell you how, but he takes 9th. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Monaco Grand Prix. Lewis McWilliam wins in Monaco for the first time in his career.
That's McWilliam's first win of the season. Probably think it's been a little more of a wait than he thought it would have been, but now it's gone. And this might be just a spark you need for this season.
It certainly gives him a good platform to build off. He needs a bit more of that kind of thing, but if anyone can do it, Lewis can. Lewis McWilliam wins the Monaco Grand Prix with a total race time of 48 minutes and 14 seconds. Luke Davies comes home in second to keep up his 100% podium streak and extend the championship lead. Sam Crumpton comes home in third, followed by Jake Marsh in fourth, Borbune in fifth, Tyler Pistilli, it is Morris who comes home in sixth, Dara Smith comes home in seventh, apologies, Dara Smith in eighth, it is then Santiago ninth, and Glennon picks up the final point. It's then Habib McCook, Matthew Stotts, Andrew Davis and Harley Fox, your non-finishers. We're going to try and get the top 3 in for our post-race interview. Hopefully they can join us, as I know Luke definitely will. Lewis probably as well. Not sure about Sam Crumpton.
We'll just have to wait for him to into the waiting room first.
Yeah, we will. As Luke is in the waiting room for us now, so we may as well bring Luke in while we wait for some others. We'll get Luke in for his post-race interview. As Liam Houseman has joined the post-race interview channel. Liam didn't even drive. Luke, hello, can you hear us? You're on mute, just in case you didn't realise.
Hello.
Luke, second position in Monaco. That couldn't have gone better, I don't think.
I mean, I'm still kind of just trying to process what happened there, but I don't know if you saw I spun on the third last lap. I was just lost concentration. I'm kind of lucky I got the positions back. I spun in a way I could keep going, but apparently I could have even gone for the win if I had, because Lewis had damage and a 6-second penalty. So I don't know how I feel about it, but I'll take second every day of the week. So yeah, I don't know how likely it actually was. So yeah, happy with that race.
Well, Darrell Smith didn't have a good race for his standards, so you extend your lead in the championship. This isn't looking half bad for you now. That's 100% podium rate. You've extended your championship lead. McLaren have extended their championship lead as well, I believe. How do you feel about that? Because this is not looking too bad for you.
Well, I think, again, I said it pretty much every race now. We got to keep taking it race by race because, next race, Austria. I mean, again, anything can happen. Happened last season to me. Probably was on for the win, and then I got fourth on penalties, but I was like in 8th or something over the line. So can't take anything for granted. Just got to keep pushing, keep going, and keep putting in performances like this.
Well, next week we are heading to... Hold on 1 second, let me actually remember what track. Next week we head to Austria. It's a bit of a different one. How do you feel that one's going to go for you?
Well, yeah, obviously I got close to the top step last season, but yeah, there was an incident on the last lap, obviously. So I think I have pretty good pace around there. I mean, yeah, I just think if I can just keep doing what I'm doing, I won't have any complaints. So yeah.
Well, Brendan, over to you. Any questions?
I was just asking, you said losing the concentration of Monaco. Do you think maybe, obviously, I don't know if would have any effect on your pace, let's say, or obviously you had strategy you went with medium hard instead of hard medium. Do you think that impacted you around the pit stops with Jake? Is that why he got ahead of you, or?
Yeah, it was kind of, so I went medium just because I thought I wanted to be, have some sort of pace or get in front of Jake, especially. I didn't think I could get in front of Lewis, but I got in front of Jake on the start, which was pretty crucial. So we got that launch, and yeah, it was kind of ebbing and flowing a bit. He just got me on the pit exit, which was quite annoying, but he had a lot of penalties, which obviously played into my favour, and then I think he spun. So yeah, I mean, strategy, I'm happy with what I went with, and especially got in front, but yeah, it worked out in the end. I think P2 was my maximum today, and I got that.
Well, Luke, thank you very much. We're going to let you go enjoy your evening now. Really appreciate you joining us, and once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, we did have the race winner Lewis in with us, but he's left, and Luke is still here with us, unfortunately. So hopefully we can get the race winner back in again. If he can just get in the waiting room, we will bring Lewis McWilliam in.
Well,
this is awkward. Don't know what to say now. Me and Brendan have been waffling for the last 39 laps. Lewis, if you could just save us this one time. Oh, here we go. Luke, we're going to have to kick you out, unfortunately. No, Lewis has left. Okay, this isn't working for some reason.
Yeah, it just seems like Lewis just can't quite stay in the same spot.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. If he joins the waiting room, I'll drag us both in there. Hold on, we'll try this. Hello, Lewis, can you hear us?
Hello? Mr. McWilliam, can you hear? You're on mute, by the way, in case, just check that.
Hold on, I've just realised this is this isn't working. I've just realised no one can hear us when we're in that channel. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to hear from Lewis. It's just not working for some reason. But that's going to round out the action here in Monte Carlo, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to join us next week for the Red Bull Ring. Oh no, hold on. We have another attempt from Lewis. Let's see, does it work this time? Lewis, can you hear us? Hello, Lewis.
Hello.
Oh, there he is. There is Lewis McWilliam, ladies and gentlemen. Your race winner for the Monaco Grand Prix. Lewis, that's a bit more like it, isn't it?
Yeah, it was alright. Wasn't actually my best race at all. It was actually a bit of a shambles, but it worked, I suppose.
First win in Monaco for you. It starts a little bit of a comeback in the championship. Is this good a platform? Is this a good platform to build off?
I mean, yeah, definitely. Dara battled it. He didn't drive very well, and then Luke got P2. Another lucky result for him. The usual, I suppose, but P2 nonetheless. Not really much you can do about it. But yeah, it's all right because I see Dara as the threat, and I see Luke as I don't know. I don't think it'll be a problem to get by him and be faster than him in most tracks under most conditions.
Well, Austria next week. How does that one fare for you?
It's good for me. I know it's also good for Dara. I'm pretty sure I won there last season, so don't see a reason why I can't do it again.
Brendan, over to you.
I suppose it wasn't the best start to the season for you, but what you're saying now, obviously, you've gained a lot of points with Dara Smith. You're probably now jumping up towards near third in the championship. Would you say now this championship's still on, very much on, or do you think you might want one or two things to go your way still?
I mean, I think definitely it's still on because, say, if I didn't have my issues in France and then raced in Portugal, I reckon I'd probably be leading. So, I mean, I don't see any reason why I can't win every race from now on without any bad luck.
Well, Lewis, thank you very much for joining us. We'll let you go enjoy your evening. We do greatly appreciate that. And once again, congratulations.
Cheers.
Well, that is all we do have time for here in Monaco, ladies and gentlemen. It was good to hear from Lewis in the end. Make sure to join us next week where we do head to the Red Bull Ring. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall catch you next time.